What's up, metalheads? This is Jamie with Blades and EDC, and today I'm doing an overdue review of the EMP EDC Slender Man. This is the first OTF you have seen on my channel, but this is not my first OTF. I have a OTF I bought 10 or 15 years ago, and the OTF I'm about to show you is the reason that 10 or 15 years ago, I don't remember the exact year, but it's this knife I'm going to show you in just a second is the reason I ended my knife collection, right? This is the Lightning. It's an old Lightning, and I can't remember where I bought this thing. I want to say I bought this thing on Blade HQ, but I'm not sure where it was. This is a long time ago, and at the time I bought this knife, I had a 5 and 10-year-old daughter, right? My daughters were 5 and 10 years old. I still have my daughters. I still have them. They're great. I love them very much. But my ex-wife, recently ex-wife, just so you know, this freaked her out for some reason, right? This knife caused so many arguments, and when I look back on it now, I think to myself, why did you cave? Why? I was kind of person that just didn't want to deal with, drama, I guess. And they were just pieces of metal, is the way I looked at it at the time. So that's when I stopped buying knives back then. And this was back when, if you've been collecting a long time, this is back when Kershaw was releasing all their assisted opening knives. Like the Leak came out and it was assisted opening, and Hinderer had some Kershaw knives that were assisted opening. So this was a long time ago. I don't know, 10 to 15 years ago, somewhere around there. I know the house we owned then, and my youngest daughter at the time was 4 or 5 years old. Maybe 3 or 4 years old, and she's almost 16 now, so this is a long time ago. That's when I stopped buying knives back then, right? And this little EMP EDC Slender Man has made me want to buy a lot more OTFs. And I got rid of the wife, right? The wife is no longer an issue. Well, that sounded terrible. That sounded so bad. I didn't get rid of the wife. I divorced the wife. Kept the daughters, divorced the wife. The wife is fine. Well, I don't know if she's fine, but she's doing whatever she's doing wherever she's doing it, right? I didn't get rid of the wife. I'm no longer married to the wife. Okay, that sounded much better. But anyway, this little OTF right here, I'll go and compare it to this one, because this is the only other OTF I have, right? The Lightning. And I have no idea if the Lightning is still like this, if it's completely different. I have no idea, right? So, much more slender. This is the Slender Man, after all. I mean, look at that. You can fit 2 of these inside that one. And honestly, I like both of these knives. I don't even know if they still make the Lightning, to be completely honest with you. If they do, they should. If they don't, they should, because it's a great little OTF. I've had it for 10 to 15 years, and it's got marks on it and everything, right, where the coating's worn off. But as far as the action goes, it's great and fantastic. I don't remember what steel this is, and unfortunately, unless I take it apart, I have no way of telling. Actually, I don't even know if that will tell me what steel it is. I don't know if it's marked inside or not, but it's not marked on the blade. So, but this thing sat in a box for 10 years. Didn't get touched, didn't get oiled, didn't get anything. There's no rust, so it's a very good sign. But I'm assuming this blade was cut on a CNC machine. I never thought about it back then when I originally bought this, but look at those lines. Can you see those lines in the camera? Blades today don't look anything like that. So very odd. I don't know what the difference is in the manufacturing process today versus back then, but you don't see this today. All right, this video is not about this knife. This knife is the only knife I have as a comparison for this knife, but I will give you some size comparisons. My first size comparison is, of course, going to be the Nimble, EMP EDC Nimble. And just so you guys know, on April the 16th, the day before my birthday, you can buy a liner lock version of the Nimble. You can get it in blue micarta, black micarta, a topo carbon fiber, and there was one other one. I don't remember what it is, and they're like between $259 and $269, something like that, somewhere in that range. If you have the money, you should buy it. The Nimble is the best knife in my collection. I love this knife. The same guy that made this knife, he didn't really make, or same guy that designed this knife, he kind of designed this knife. This was another brand that he took and redesigned, made it his own, and got all the parts, put it together, and sold them. So, but anyway, there's size comparison with Nimble. Let me find one people may be more familiar with. This is the QSP Penguin. So it's a pretty long knife, but very slender, hence Slender Man. How about the Para 3? Spyderco Para 3. I think most everyone has a Para 3. Very common knife nowadays. And what else can we do here? Let's do the Civivi Backlash. About the same length there, but like 3 times the knife. It's so thin. This Slender Man is like perfect for carrying in sweatpants. That's what I've found. I realized that today when I was like, you know, it's time for me to review this knife. I went to the gym and I was trying to find a knife to put in my pocket, and I put several in there, and when I put this one in there, I was like, man, that's perfect. It went in, well, it clipped perfectly, which is, I found a little odd personally, because it has the I think it's a ceramic ball, but the ball pocket clip, and usually those are problematic, but this one isn't. It goes in and out of your pocket very well. And so after I carried it in sweatpants, I figured, you know, it's time to review this knife. And even though I haven't disassembled it yet, the reason I haven't disassembled it yet is because I haven't disassembled an OTF before. I have there will be a disassembly coming for this, but it will come after this review. And so the reason for that is because I have contacted John, the owner of EMP EDC, to ask him if there are any issues I'm going to run into. Basically, if I take those screws out, are springs going to come flying out at me? I have no idea. And I didn't want to do that and not review the knife first. I didn't want to screw it up before I could do a review, because this is a cool little knife. I'm not going to say it's for everyone. It's going to take a very specialized person to appreciate this knife. I appreciate the heck out of this knife. It is it has great action, you know, right? I mean, it's never failed for me. If you're not familiar, excuse me, pollen, man. Pollen, North Carolina has me all messed up. If you're not familiar with OTFs, the OTFs that I'm familiar with, if you deploy an OTF and you hit something, well, it will fail. Need something a little stiffer, I guess. Like that, right? It failed. So you can't go up to something, deploy it, and it stabs something, right? It won't work. And once you fail it like that, you're not really in any trouble. You can just do like that, whip it out, and it will re-engage, and you're back to normal. So that's something I remember with the Lightning. it does the exact same thing. If you deploy this and hit something and it's not functioning properly, just whip it out like that. It'll lock back in and it'll function properly. So this steel S35VN, it's fine. It's great. Well, I'm not gonna say it's great. It's what you think it would be, right? It's nothing special. Nothing. It's not bad. It's really good, but it's nothing extremely special. And I haven't done a whole lot of cutting with this knife, but it's flat grind, tanto. So flat here, flat there, and it's such a short blade that it goes through most things with ease. With cardboard, it struggled a little bit because, you know, by the time you cut into cardboard, it's already hitting the stick edge, and then this fuller is here. It's not really a fuller. It's more for looks than anything else. I think that's the one thing I'd recommend that EMP EDC would do differently. There's no need for this. It's just aesthetics, really. It serves no purpose, right? It's not a fuller. Just make it one flat grind from the bottom, from the edge to the top. No need for this. This was just for aesthetics. Has to be. But when you look at the nimble, you know, it's pretty clear that John learned a lot from this knife, because there's nothing on the nimble that's just for aesthetics. Everything on the nimble serves a purpose. Every notch, every grind, every hole, all of it serves a purpose. Even the frag pattern, it serves the purpose of the way it looks, but also it cuts weight. It makes it much more light. So take this review with a grain of salt. Like I said, I'm not an expert in OTFs. What I can tell you is this OTF functions exactly like I think OTF should function. I've had no issues with it. It has the safety built into it. I call it a safety. I don't know what it's really called. If you deploy it and it hits something, it won't stab, right? It may poke a little, but it's not going to stab. And you can whip it out. It will re-engage, and you're back to normal. The DLC, actually, I don't know if this is DLC. Whatever anodization this is, it's held up well, actually. And I've carried it several times in my pocket with keys. And I expected this blue to get kind of scratched off or marred up. It's actually held up really well. Surprisingly well. This was a, I guess you'd call it a factory second when I got this. They were all sold out, and John had some of these left over that didn't pass his QC originally, so he decided to put them together and sell them. But he put he let everyone know on the website that they were not perfect. The only thing I can find wrong with this one is at the seam right here, right? You can see little imperfections where the blue is not on the seam. But other than that, I can't find anything wrong with the blade or the action, the clip, the button. Everything else is perfect. That has to be the imperfection. Like right there, best spot. It looks a little bit white. See that right there? Looks a little bit white. That's the only thing I can find that's wrong with this. And honestly, I couldn't care less about that, considering that I got this at a very discounted rate because of it. So I'll take a few more if you have them, John, if you happen to watch this. So that's it, guys. I think this thing's great. This thing has pointed me towards my next OTF also. The axial shift, the blue Warncliffe in 20 CV. As soon as they have it back in stock, I'm going to buy it. They have some in stock. They have no 20 CVs in stock, and they have no Warncliffes in stock. But as soon as they have that one in stock, I'm going to buy it. So, and then I don't know if I'm going to buy Microtech or not. The reason for that is I don't like all the markings they put on the blades and the handle. They just go crazy with billboarding on everything. The entire damn knife is a billboard. you know, which is ridiculous, because if you own a Microtech, you bought a Microtech, if you even know what a Microtech is and you're buying a Microtech, you don't need the billboarding, you know. So for that one reason alone, I've never bought one. Alright guys, that's going to do it. Not the best review of a knife, because I don't have a lot of experience with these kinds of knives. But there will be more experience coming in the future with the axial. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider leaving a like, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment if you have any questions or recommendations. The comments and likes really help. You know, that pushes the video out to the algorithm, which recommends it to other people, which, you know, new people that aren't into knives. It helps spread the hobby to everyone. So best thing you can do is like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.